The glitch in the matrix. That night showed me the real nature of the world, hidden, spooky, and full of impossible things. In 2009, as I was coming home from the movies around 2:30 in the morning, the streets, which were usually quiet and empty, seemed extra gloomy. The chill of the night seemed to seep deeper into my bones than usual, making each shadow stretch ominously, as if reaching out to me. The movie had been intense and dark, packed with the kind of haunting images and mind-bending ideas that Stephen King might sprinkle throughout his novels. Thoughts of far-off worlds and other realities were still spinning in my head as I turned onto the main road near where I lived. The quiet of the street was broken only by the occasional distant bark or the rustle of leaves in the brisk wind. On the side of the road, which I passed every day, there stood a man and a woman. They were looking my way, but they were frozen in place, like a paused movie. I slowed down, puzzled by this sight. Their blank, motionless eyes met mine, and I felt a chill down my spine. Something was off, not as it should be on a normal night. My first thought was to stop and ask if they needed help, but something about how completely still they were made me keep going. I looked at them again, this time more carefully. Their skin and clothes were colorless, as if I were viewing the world through an old black and white TV. But the scariest part was their faces, or rather the lack of them. Where there should have been eyes, a nose, a mouth, there was just an invisible veil of darkness. As I continued driving, the image of the motionless couple haunted me. Their eerie stillness felt like a warning, a bad omen. It was then that I noticed the streetlights flickering as I passed under them, one by one, like a strobe light guiding me further into the night. My heart pounded harder with each flicker, a sense of dread building inside me. Turning a corner, I saw a cat dart across the road, its eyes glowing fiercely in my headlights. The sudden movement made me jump, and for a moment I lost sight of the road. When I looked up, I could barely make out the shape of something large and dark moving slowly across the street. It was only there for a second, but it looked like a giant shadow, shapeless and immense, drifting through the night air. I couldn't explain it as just shadows of the night or bad lighting. No, this was something different, something that didn't make sense, that was beyond normal understanding. My mind looked for logical reasons, but deep down I felt that I had run into something that shouldn't exist. It was like a glitch in the matrix, a moment when reality broke open to show its true, twisted face. Shaken, I drove faster, eager to get home. My thoughts raced with possibilities. Had I seen a ghost? A creature from another dimension? Or was my mind playing tricks on me, spurred by the strange film I'd watched? On the way home, I kept glancing in the rearview mirror, each time scared I might see them sitting in the back seat. It was silly, but fear was stronger than reason. When I finally got home, I jumped out of the car, quickly looked around, and rushed inside, not daring to look back. Once inside, I locked the door behind me and leaned against it, trying to catch my breath. The house was silent, too silent, and the darkness felt thicker than usual. I switched on every light as I moved through the rooms, checking each corner nervously. Finally, feeling somewhat safer with the lights on, I made my way to the living room. I sat down, trying to calm my racing heart, when I noticed something odd about the room. The pictures on the walls, photos of family vacations, graduations, birthdays, were all turned upside down. I froze, staring at them. My mind raced to understand how this could have happened. It was as if the world inside my home had shifted while I was out, subtly altering things to unsettle me further. That night left a lasting mark on me. I started to notice little odd things in daily life more often, as if the world was sometimes reminding me of its strange nature. But I never saw those who stood on the road that night again. And honestly, I hope it stays that way. The memory of their faceless forms and the inexplicable events that followed remains vividly etched in my mind, a constant reminder of the night when reality itself seemed to slip away. In the quiet forests of Maine, where shadows grow longer and the wind whispers secrets through the trees, I lived a life woven from the threads of fate and mystery. This story begins not with a simple twist of luck, but with the relentless bonds of love and a sinister blue door that served as a portal to my past and perhaps to a darker world beyond. My husband, Louis, was the heart of my existence, a man whose presence was as comforting as the hearth in our grand old house. The house itself, a luxurious estate that had been in his family for generations, was filled with laughter, love, and the echoes of countless quiet secrets. Here, under the vast skies of Maine, I found solace after a childhood shadowed by tragedy. As a child, my parents, fervent abolitionists, were swept away by their passion for freedom and justice. My world collapsed overnight, and I found myself in a void of loneliness and despair. But fate, often cruel, can also be kind. I was adopted by a French couple, friends of my parents, and their son, Louis, became my anchor in the stormy sea. As we grew up, Louis's mother, a woman of elegance and unshakable resolve, taught me the art of sword fighting. She moved with a grace that belied the strength of her strikes, each lesson not just about defense, but about reclaiming my power in a world that often sought to diminish it. Meanwhile, Louis's father, a soulful man with eyes like twilight, introduced me to the world of stars. We spent countless nights side by side, learning to navigate by celestial bodies, which perhaps was a metaphor for navigating the darker nights of the soul. But it was the blue door in the west wing of the house that began to haunt my dreams. Louis always said it was a family matter, something old and complex tied to generations of secrets. Best left alone, he would say, his eyes clouding with a mix of fear and resolve. Yet the door drew me in, its deep blue as mesmerizing as the twilight sky, and the brass handle worn by the hands of those who came before. Louis passed away one winter night, his heart extinguishing as gently as a candle in the wind. The estate, with all its memories and shadows, passed to me, and with it came the responsibility for the blue door. After his funeral, as I sorted through his papers, I found a letter addressed to me, written in his elegant handwriting. My dear, if you are reading this, I can no longer protect you from our family's ancient burden. The blue door, as you might have guessed, is no ordinary door. It holds a legacy of protection and danger. Our family has guarded it for centuries because what lies beyond is not meant for the living world. It is a gateway, a thin place where realities converge and from which darker entities seep. You must never open it, no matter how strongly it calls to you. I love you, more than this old curse, more than the secrets it holds. Promise me, my love, that you will guard it, but never step beyond its threshold. His words chilled me to the bone. Yet the pull of the door grew stronger every day. It seemed to me like a siren's song, seeping into my dreams, tinted with the color of impending dusk. Under the influence of a force I could not understand, I found myself before the door on a night when the moon was a thin crescent in the sky. My hand trembled as I reached for it, the cold brass of the handle biting into my palm. With a deep, calming breath, drawing strength from lessons of the past and the love I still felt for Louis, I turned the handle. The door creaked open, revealing not another room but a whirlwind of darkness, dark and alluring. The air was thick with the scent of moss and earth, as if opening the door had awakened ancient aromas from the depths of time. Whispers emerged from the shadows, speaking in tongues forgotten by human memory. I stood at the threshold, the legacy of my beloved and his ancestors weighing heavily on my shoulders. With the fencing skills instilled by Louis's mother coursing through my veins and the knowledge of the stars guiding my spirit, I confronted the darkness. What lay beyond the blue door and how I coped with it could fill pages of history too extensive to recount here. Suffice to say, in the woods of Maine, under the watchful eyes of the stars, I found my destiny not only in the life I had lived alongside Louis, but in deeper and darker explorations of what was hidden behind the blue door. My days and nights became filled with new challenges and discoveries, each moment bringing new lessons about the world, about myself, and about the boundaries of reality that one can overcome when facing fear and the unknown head-on. My journey beyond the door turned into a quest that surpassed all I could have imagined, opening new horizons of possibility and understanding. Thus I continued to live on this plot, deep in the forests of Maine, guarding secrets not meant for the world of the living, but also exploring them, learning and growing, driven by my love for Louis and my new responsibilities. With each day I became stronger, more confident in my abilities and in my right to stand guard over what had been entrusted to me. The blue door, once a harbinger of dark times, had now become a symbol of my resolve and the inevitable growth through the trials life set before me.